I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. We are joined by Eyeris. Hi.
Hey, welcome. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming on. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, everybody. My name is Eyeris Daemon. I am VMind's cute little techno daemon. I am an artist, VTuber, and longtime weirdo.
One of us.
One of us.
There's nothing wrong with that, especially these days.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it's the best way to get through what's going on. Just kind of step outside and cock your head a little bit and close one eye and squint.
Exactly. It's how you get through the day. If you're not a little bit weird, I don't think you're doing it right.
I think it's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, how did you get started, and when did you get started with the VTuber thing?
I have been a VTuber for about 5 years now.
Whoa.
I'm old as VTubers go.
We're talking with a veteran.
I know. I've been VTubing since about the end of, not the end, about mid 2020. I was originally a PNG tuber who started making my own models. I got really into VTubing after I learned a little bit more about the space. I originally got into Japanese VTubers before English VTubers like a really big thing, and I just really admired the work that went in and the I guess the craftsmanship of it. I think that's what really drew me to it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, there is quite a difference in a lot of different ways from that. You're speaking of the corporate VTuber type setup.
I originally got into VTubing through. Originally, I started watching Kizuna Ai when she first debuted.
Mm-hmm.
And then I discovered Hololive through Korone when she started getting really popular over in the West because she's this silly little dog and we all love that. I really like the vibes of Corpo VTubers. It's kind of what I've modeled my own vibes after, I guess.
Yeah. Well, see, it's really funny for me because I know I now know about 0.001% Japanese after watching some of these. Just kind of osmosis, it's going to fill your head a little bit. Did you know Japanese when you were listening, or was it subtitles?
Subtitles mostly. I am in the process of working to learn Japanese. I have a little bit of Japanese, but my Japanese is not great. And but I've always really liked Japanese media in general. I'm a big fan of idols. So I've always just been really into like the culture and different media. I've always been a huge weeb, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's everybody's got their own thing. There's no, and especially in VTubing, there's so many different people, different likes and wants and what they want to get out of VTubing. When you guys started, was it just wanting to learn the art and then kind of got a little bit more involved later, or were you in it full blast from the start?
I think it started more as a hobby. Way back, I had been really interested in a lot of artists that I looked up to did a lot of speed paint and speed art because I'm an artist more than anything else. And a lot of the people that I looked up to did speed paints, and I thought that was just so much fun. So I kind of modeled everything after the idea of just having, instead of like a face cam, having, a stream where I kind of embody more of a persona, or I have like a persona that I'm easily recognizable by. And it kind of snowballed from there. I'd say about later into COVID, I started really kind of buckling down and thinking about it and deciding that VTubing was kind of the way I wanted to go, kind of what I wanted to really, really do with my life.
Yeah,
I guess.
Well, I mean, for COVID, a lot of people come across the fact that they really like kind of being their own boss. They really liked being able to go out and do something they enjoy, and then if you can do it and get enough to pay the bulldog at a time, why not? It's a lot of people decided to do that. Not everybody stuck around for 5 years though afterwards.
No,
And
definitely not.
so, I mean, has it always been upward, 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 or have you had a couple of stumbles?
I mean, I'd say it's been pretty consistently up.
Mm,
I'm someone who tries to keep their nose clean. I try really hard to embody as much positivity in everything that I do that I can.
mm-hmm.
So I don't think I've ever really hit a stumble. I'd say that more like a flat line where there are points where you just kind of bottom out for like some things where like
Yeah,
your viewership kind of stays in one place or
right.
stuff's not going to like you're not growing at the rate that you want to grow,
Yeah,
which it happens to everybody.
yeah, yeah. Some of us grow too much and then have to go through a program, um, or two, or an entire lifetime. Uh, but are you satisfied with your progress now? I mean, can you look back and say, yeah, I've done really good because you have.
I can definitely say that. Yeah, I'm very proud of my progress. I've made a lot of really great friends through
Cool.
VTubing. I'd say that I'm overall very happy with the work that I've put in, the work that I've done so far.
Hmm.
I feel like every time I get to hit stream, it honestly just feels like a blessing because I get to sit down and like see people, talk to people. I get to make people's days better. I think that's the main thing. I just really like making people happy. I'm a bit of a people pleaser. So knowing that there are people who take the time out of their day and come see me, I think that's like honestly enough for me to feel satisfied with my work.
You have one of the most honest voices I've heard in a long time.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Thank you.
yeah. It's just naturally. It's not it's not super radio voice type thing, or
Mhm.
it's unique, and it's also very wholesome and welcoming at the same time.
I mean, that's kind of the vibes that I try and do in my everyday. I think that at least nowadays with VTubing, with so much going on in the community, I think that people kind of lose track of the, I guess, the fun of it.
Hmm.
So I guess the big thing for me is I try and keep everything as, welcoming for everybody as I can. Because I know what it means to be like, not have people there for you. And I feel like it's always important to have a space where people can come and just relax and get away from everything.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel a responsibility for that after all these years?
I guess you could say it. I think that over time you develop this, and it's not always a healthy thing for sure,
Hmm.
where you feel like a pressure, where sometimes I'm like, oh, I feel sick. I don't think I should stream. And then I sit there and I look at it and I go, but if I don't stream, I feel like people are going to be sad that I'm not streaming. And then that makes me feel bad.
Oh, there goes that endless tunnel. It starts digging. Keep going down, down, down.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, you try to avoid that as much as possible. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't sound like to me that there'd be very many scenarios where you wouldn't enjoy yourself on a stream at this point.
No, I mean, I get the chance to sit down and really like enjoy everything that I do. I haven't really had a time, even when I'm not having fun with the game, I'm still having fun with like chat or,
Hmm.
people around me, the rest of my group. We
Yeah. That
gel very well, so
that's a nice talent to have, isn't it? You if something isn't going particularly right, then you can kind of lean on something else and kind of
hmm.
if you're playing a game for the first time and it's not particularly good or enjoyable, then and you've got still got an hour to go. let's lean on
We
this a
can
little
make it
bit.
work.
Yeah, it'll work, and that type of agility is is not easy to learn. Was that something that you were able to come up with pretty quickly, or did you have to kind of try out a few things on the way?
It was definitely a struggle.
Mm,
I recently had somebody who knew me from when I very first started VTubing back in 2020.
mm,
He came back to my stream very recently, and I used to be, and I didn't realize it until I went back and watched some like older footage of me doing
mm-hmm.
stuff. I used to not be confident at all. I'm a
Ah,
lot more confident now,
mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
back in the day, I was like very timid. I was very quiet. I didn't want to talk a whole lot or do a whole lot because I was worried about, I guess, being annoying.
Mm.
But over time, I've like adjusted to where like now I don't shut up.
I see. We shouldn't put you in radio. That way you would have loved being annoying because that's all we did. Don't listen to us. Be annoying all day. We love being annoying.
I used to listen to the radio every once in a while. I used to live in an area that had a show that I really liked that would play between play on like the mornings. I forget the name of it, but it was so long ago.
Yeah.
It was just a really nice, like, morning thing. Get up, listen to the radio, listen to
Oh,
people goof around for a while.
oh, you are after my own heart. Because that's what I did as a kid, and of course got into radio very early. But we're talking, ancient times from from here. But and it's changed so much between now and then.
Here's one thing that I think you might actually find interesting. I'm a longtime listener of Coast to Coast AM.
Oh, yes.
I've always listened. I used to listen to Art Bell all the time. I'm a big
Yeah,
I love it. Like
yeah,
I do. I think radio is a great medium for a lot of people, and I think it's found its footing in podcasting too, which is what you're doing.
yeah. A lot of us old radio guys have turned to podcasting, but the difference is we get kind of a little bit more control over what we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and by recording it, we're not necessarily so like what you do with your live stuff is a lot different than what I'm doing here in a million different ways. But with you, you have to play the cards you're dealt. I can edit the cards out.
That's true. You can.
I can I can polish before it goes on. You've got to play. Here you go. You've got a 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Go for it. and in a
It's a
hand.
lot of it's a lot of improv, really,
Yeah, it
isn't
is.
it?
It is very much. It is very much. And it's funny you mentioned Coast to Coast because um, I when I started, I was at a competing station with one of the guys who eventually became one of the top hosts of that show, Ian
Oh,
Punnett. Um,
okay.
yeah, Ian was under a different name, still Ian, but under a different last name as a
Mhm.
rock DJ. And every once in a while, uh, a couple years back, I got back in touch with him and exchanged some emails about old times. Um, but nice fella, very interesting fellow. Um,
Mm.
and which was Art your favorite host?
Art was my favorite, but I have found that honestly, I've just been. I think that there's some sort of special magic there with Coast to Coast that
Mm-hmm.
I've just always enjoyed, no matter the host.
Mm-hmm.
Art was my favorite just because I think he had such a presence to him when
Yeah.
he was hosting.
Yeah.
That it just kind of it felt so, I guess, iconic for the show itself.
Yes. Yeah. And there's anything goes. That's for sure. And
Hmm.
and the callers. Sometimes I'm not really sure what planet they were on, but you know what? Welcome to the show. You're on next.
I love like open call segments on Coast to Coast are just so fun to listen to. I go back and listen to the archives every now and again when I get the chance.
Yeah.
It's always just a blast. You never know what you're going to hear.
Yeah. He was Ian was known as Ian Case here.
Yeah.
Except Case I think is his middle name, but Um, yeah, don't. And I've seen him just skewer people on Twitter X. Don't don't put up a don't try to match with him.
Oh no.
He'll slice, dice, and julienne fry you, and not even use half his alphabet. um, so, as an artiste, I have to ask you this question because it just fascinates me about artists. Since I have no ability to art whatsoever, are you one of those artists who is never finished?
Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always revisiting my work.
Admit it, admit it, admit it.
Every time I finish a piece, I look at it and I'm like, oh, I'm happy with this. And then a couple days later, I look at it and I go, oh, never mind. I should change this, and I should have done this different, and
Yes.
I needed to do all of this.
Oh,
Why didn't I change the shading on this to look a little bit closer to this? This was supposed to be a style study.
it's funny. Yet I envy you being caring that much about what you're doing and having a vision that the artist who cares that much about it just wants to show the absolute perfection in what they're doing. And you said, well, it's 99% there, but I can make it that 1% better. Let me take it down off the wall of the Louvre, okay?
That
Oh,
goes with any creative medium, really. I feel like everybody's always out there to show their best, and I feel like it kind of maybe just not in the same way for a lot of people. It feels like it's different between mediums because
hmm,
I know programmers and game devs that I've worked with have done things where they're like, well, I guess I'm just going to go back and rewrite the code because I don't like the way this is moving.
yeah.
But like when I do it, it feels like very different because it's like, it's a lot more, it's physically tangible, I guess, is kind of the way to put it.
Yeah, yeah, it is, and then to me, I would if I were to do something like that, I would be like, okay, now I've tweaked it worse. Now it's worse than it was. I can't get back to where it was before.
I'm a big proponent for the idea that everybody can create something, and I'm big on the idea that everybody can do art. So
Oh,
even you can do art. It's
oh,
just kind
oh.
of the Bob Ross style of thinking, I guess.
Well, I appreciate your confidence in my inability.
I think you can do it. I think everybody can do art.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that like I whenever somebody comes on stream and I'm doing like an art stream and they go, "Oh, I can't even draw a stick figure." I stop everything
Yeah.
and I'm like, "You can draw. You can. You just have to try. It's practice. It's muscle memory. It's a skill just like any other. You don't learn how to you're not naturally good at playing the guitar.
Mm,
You don't pick it up in an instant and know exactly how to, put your fingers on the frets or,
yes.
you know,
Well,
play the piano.
I was kind of stunted early on by, and then it's an absolute true story. In grade school, we had art classes,
Mhm.
and I still wasn't particularly good at it, but we had a clay project, and I worked my tail off on it and handed it in and got an F. Like,
They
how?
give you a reason?
She didn't like it.
See, that's just a bad art teacher.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, all right,
It's a
we'll
bad art
we'll
teacher.
cruise through and try to pass and not worry about it. And then it just got worse from there.
I've run into art teachers when I was in school who wanted me to create in the exact way that they like wanted you to.
Hmm.
Like you have to make it look just like this or it's not correct. And I've also had art teachers that have kind of fostered that idea of art is what you make of it. Everybody experiences it different.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does make a difference in how you experience creativity, depending on exactly who you're like taking guidance from.
Oh, it does, it does. And I hear a lot of folks who go through the art classes who have drawn and painted and been artists before coming to the class, and they kind of do the Play-Doh method, where they stuff you into a hole, and they try to create the same sausage out of you that they did out of everybody else, and try to strip what was the individual part of the art away. Um, and there's something to be said for the basics of everything,
Hmm.
but don't strip out the flavor. Um, if you want that, there's you're probably typing into something that can eventually replace what they're trying to come up with. I mean, you don't want to copy everything else. You want to do your own thing with it.
I think that a lot of why people are so scared to get into art is that I think that a lot of our modern like teaching systems tend to, I guess, make people scared to fail, scared to mess up.
Hmm.
They're worried about making like a mistake and it not turning out right, but they don't realize that that's just part of the process to actually learning what you need to learn.
Oh, yeah.
My art teacher always taught me, at least the one that I really, really liked. She was fantastic. She got me into in like the crazy story, but she got me into one of our local art galleries did like a local college exhibit, and this is back when I was in school, in high school. She was my high school teacher, and she managed to get my work into that.
Ooh,
She like pulled me aside. She gave me the assignment. She said, "I want to see your work in this." And she's like, "We'll
wow.
pass it off to judging and see if it does." And it wound up working because
Oh,
she believed in me and she believed in my creativity.
oh man, that's that's something special when you have that happen.
Mhm.
That's well, no wonder you're arting now.
I love it. I
Yeah,
mean, there's no better way to connect to the world around you.
yeah, yeah. I got to ask you this question too. Is one thing to do artwork and do it the way you like it and set it aside and keep it for yourself. How do you get the courage to show somebody else?
It's just there are a lot of things that I don't show people with my art. I have a million and one sketches that I keep to myself because I look at it and I go, "Oh no, that's not fit for public consumption." But I think it just comes down to getting the courage up to do it.
Hmm.
It's nerve wracking. It is, because you look at it and you go, "Oh, if somebody looks at this wrong and they take this detail and they're gonna rip me apart." But it's also good to keep in mind, at least on my end, that I try and view anything that might go wrong as just constructive for later on.
Mm.
If somebody were to point out some sort of flaw in my art, and then that's fine because then that means that the next time that I do something, I know that that's something that I might struggle with, or it's all about taking the negativity you might experience and making it work for you, I guess.
Mm. And something too that I'd like to ask about is people's point of view on art. I mean, I could look at something and say this is wonderful. The next person comes up and says, the perspective is wrong, the shading is wrong, I don't like it. I'm like, I just like the picture. you know, it, can we look at it too close sometimes and kind of miss the forest from the
I think
trees?
so. I think whenever we view art through a critical lens, sometimes people are a little too critical.
Mm,
And it kind of pulls away from the overall like point of experiencing art.
yeah.
Art's meant to elicit emotions and feelings, and it's meant to be pretty sometimes too.
Mm-hmm.
But the core of it is I think personally that art is an extension of the person who made it. And I think that the more you look at it through the lens of like what could be better, or I could do this a million times better. It kind of lends itself to being overly critical, not of the art piece itself, but of the person behind it.
Hmm.
So I think it's best to try and be, I guess, thoughtful when you're passing judgment on other people's art, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is, and I hope people remember too that if if you come across a piece of artwork that somebody's put up to show everybody, they didn't do this specifically for your tastes. They did
That
it.
is important to keep in mind.
Yeah, I mean that's for anything though. It's for a movie. It's for a song. It's you may not be the target audience, believe it or not.
Sometimes it's not all about you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, most of the time it's about me, but only not all of the time. I can make the rest of it about me if I really work hard enough. But it's that's something for I think folks who watch art. It's tough for them because we are always looking at things that we like, and then if it's not to our taste, then it's terrible, and we don't want anything to do with it. Well, that's not true. I mean, just because you don't particularly like a certain style doesn't mean it's bad. Um, I mean, and that's what they. I watch movies because I like to have fun with them. I like certain types of movies. I don't like real heavy-handed, you know, you know, girly movies, as we used to say. Women's films they used to call it back in the old
Mm-hmm.
dim days. The ones with actual story and plot and and depth that you have to be smart in order to like. I like watching things blow up. So when I go to see Transformers 2, I don't care that the dialogue is garbage. I want to see robots fight. Um, Sometimes in your art, you just want to see robots fight.
Yeah, I
And
think that I think everybody has different tastes, and I think it's always important to keep those in mind.
mhm.
I always bring up I am I might be cute and adorable, but the main media I consume is all kinds of every horror movie you could see under the sun.
That's just that's such a 180-degree turn.
It is.
You go from fourth gear to reverse.
I might be cute, but also one of my favorite movies last year was Long Legs.
Oh my gosh. Ah, who am I talking to? Oh well, you've far surpassed me. Horror and I do not go well together. But what about when you're playing a game? Would you rather the horror genre?
Horror games. I actually play Mondays are usually my dedicated day to play a horror game with everybody.
Uh-huh.
I like both cozy games where you're just kind of hanging out
Mm,
doing stuff like farming games. I play a lot of Harvest Moon,
mm.
but also I like sitting down and playing games that are just absolutely terrifying sometimes. There's something about, I've heard somebody say this before, and I don't know how true it is, but there's this concept out there that the reason why a lot of people really like horror games and like horror is the idea that the scares in horror for people who maybe have higher levels of anxiety,
Uh-huh.
because they're not real, when you get that initial rush from it, it helps calm you down because the anxiety that you're experiencing isn't real and it tricks your brain into thinking that everything's okay for a little bit.
A little rush that
Yeah,
that says, yeah, you're good, you're good. It's only on the screen. Don't worry about
it's
it.
okay.
Yes, yes. Don't worry what's actually under the bed or in the closet. Don't worry about that.
It's all fake. It's
It,
all fake.
it's all fake. So when you're watching or playing a game or watching a film or an animation, probably especially, are you critical of the art, and will the artwork affect how you enjoy a game?
One or two instances where when I have played a game, I've looked at the art style and I've been like, I just can't look at this for too awful long. And it's never an issue with like the game's gameplay.
Hmm.
It's only really happened to me a couple of times, and it's only really like it has to be like to a point where I personally can't keep up with what's going on.
Hmm.
That would be the only time, really.
Hmm.
I try not to be critical of games, art styles. I play a lot of games that are more, I guess you could call it retro, but it doesn't feel retro because it's the type of game that I grew up with.
Right.
Like old PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 style
Hmm.
games. I
Yeah.
play a lot of pixel games
Yeah.
that are themed after like older consoles.
If you
And
if you played Stardew Valley, then you're just like, yeah, it's like, the art style is the art style, and it's perfect for that. Or
yeah,
the Animal Crossing or anything like that. The art style is not going to be, again, they're not going to be hung up in a museum, but that's perfect for what you're trying to do. Yeah, and again, it's I ask that to all artists because I just get this feeling, like I sometimes with voice work I will, it's not so much that I won't enjoy the game, but it does affect how I'm sitting there, and first of all, Fallout New Vegas, which I enjoyed, but hearing the same voice do 18 different characters with the same voice is, a little off-putting sometimes. Um, and it, I guess it's just, a bit of a snob in me to do something like that, but and I wouldn't do it any better. Um, for you, what would be the art breaking point for you in a game? Confess, confess, confess.
me, I think it's just if it makes it like unplayable almost. If I can't tell what I'm able to do in a game, I don't want to play it. Like I'll stop playing. Like if I can't make heads or tails of what's going on around me, I am not sitting there and playing it.
Do you
It's the
have
one picky thing.
do you have an example? He pried.
Very recently, I played a game on stream, and it's one of the few games that I couldn't finish on stream because it was frustrating me, and it was called Elisa.
Mm.
Um, it's wonderfully done. I'm sure the team put in a lot of really hard work for it, but it has that combination of a graphic style that makes it kind of difficult to tell exactly where you're aiming or where you're headed,
Hmm.
on top of really hard fixed camera angles.
Oh,
And while that's good for like some things, I don't mind it on games like Resident Evil because it feels like it's programmed in a way that feels natural and you learn it. I
right.
just could not learn it, and it just affected it so bad that I just had to go, I can't do this.
Oh, your voice is so hilarious. It's so wonderful with this because by you saying that, it sounded like you were embarrassed for the game, which is just endearing. It really is. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't like it. That's the type of person that people want to be around, and and I can see why people are coming back to your streams and being a part of it because it is very welcoming. It's a situation where people can be comfortable. You're comfortable with them, obviously, and the whole setting is doesn't have any sharp edges.
We're very round. I'm very round. No, no points.
that's
Baby proofed.
that's gonna be on a T-shirt in your merch shop. Irish Daemon, we're very round.
Little thumbs up.
So, commissions. Are you doing commissions?
Uh, I have a commissions page, but my commissions are closed right now, mostly because just with I've been experiencing. I hate talking about it because I feel like I'm humble bragging, and I don't like humble bragging.
Okay. Just okay,
um,
then just brag. Just brag away. You get my permission.
um,
Do it.
I've been experiencing a lot of growth lately, and with that comes a lot more challenge in keeping up with everything.
Mm.
So due to the fact that I haven't had the chance to really take a breather between stream and doing a bunch of other things, my comms are currently closed, but I hope that maybe later in the year, if things settle back down, I can reopen them because I'd like to do them again. I do mostly illustration work, but I also do character design, and I've made other people's VTuber models before
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. And now you can't just sit down and draw one and say, "There's a model," right? I mean, you got to.
No,
Yeah, here it is. Here's your model. Go ahead, use it.
it's a huge process.
Yeah, we're hearing from the super large VTubers about the processes for those types of things for them. But really, there one of these days I'm just going to have to get a bunch of you folks, you talented folks, and come on and just and just go through how do a special about how rough it is to actually put one of these together. Um,
It's not easy. I see every once in a while people being like, I've seen it before where people say like, well, models shouldn't be that expensive.
mm,
And they're right. I think that there should be more affordable options, but especially with fully customized models that are designed to clients' exact specifications, the price is warranted because even just for, let's take, for example, one of my more recent models that I did for somebody. That model had over 300 individual layers.
oh,
And that's just to make sure that movement can be smooth and
oh,
that the rigger has an easy time making sure that everything moves in tandem the way that it should. And
oh,
that takes a long time.
you 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 like quality.
I do. I'm very proud of quality. I like
Yeah.
quality above all else.
Wow, that's a lot of anything. That's that's but even in talking with you all this time, I don't expect anything less. I
Thank
mean,
you.
it's just it's there's just something about speaking with you and how maybe you've developed a confidence, quiet confidence over time. Or because I didn't know anything 5 years ago, obviously, but you come across as a person who is genuinely a warm person, generally someone who is very likable and very comfortable to talk to and hang around with, but also confident in themselves. Has has that been something you've always had? Is self confidence?
No, no.
Hmm.
I don't ever feel confident in myself. This is a ruse.
It's all fake.
It's all fake. I'm constantly doubting myself.
Well, if that's true, you're hiding it pretty good. Um,
I'm a very good actor on that front.
because it does sound maybe it's just your voice then, but it projects a quiet confidence. Yeah, I can do this and I'll do it good, and it's believable when you say that. Um, that that's a quality that is that can be natural, tough to find, but it's also hard come when learning it. Um,
Very difficult to learn.
yeah, yeah. Do you put goals in front of yourself that are tough to reach?
Yes, always. I,
Why?
I'm I'm always putting myself because I feel like if I am not pushing myself to do more, to do better, to do the unthinkable, then I'm not doing enough for myself. I feel like if you I'm one of those people where I feel like I have to make everything as big as possible or
Mm,
to the point of um quality that I would expect somebody else to have. Like
mm,
I'm very big. Maybe I just compare myself to others a little bit too much. But that idea of, well, I need to do as much as possible, and I need to get to these really big goals, because if not, I don't think I'm doing myself or the people around me justice. I feel like if I'm not doing my best at all times, I'm not doing enough.
Well, I tell you what, folks, we're going to have all the links that we've been able to find for Eyeris in the description for this interview. Um, I think you'll find very quickly that once you tune in and find out what Eyeris has going on, that you'll enjoy yourself. You'll find yourself coming back and wanting more and putting demands on Eyeris that are more than an average human could possibly. But please load Eyeris up with all your demands.
Give me all your problems.
They'll take them and run with them. I mean, we've been doing this for a while, and it's still not long enough to talk with you and find out about you. Please come back and talk some more.
If you'd have me back, I'd be more than happy to come back at some point.
I absolutely would love it. It's an absolute pleasure talking with you. And again, folks, take advantage of the links and find out about this wonderful artiste and creator. Eyeris, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you for having me, Eric, and thank you everybody for tuning in and listening.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.